Hello, this is Jason. This is a Blender tutorial showing you how to perform a circular array in Blender. I'm going to use a bolt for this tutorial, so if you don't have the Bolt Factory add-on enabled, make sure you saved all your work, then press Ctrl N to reload the startup file. Click on File, User Preferences, click on the Add-ons tab, in the search box type in Bolt, check mark Bolt Factory, and then save user settings. Okay, I'm going to delete the default cube, Shift A, add mesh, a bolt. Accidentally clicked on the wrong thing. Rotate on the x-axis 90 degrees. I'm going to move it away from center slightly. I'm going to scale it a little bit smaller. I'm also going to Shift A, add mesh, a circle. Rotate that on the x-axis, scale it slightly larger. I'm going to actually even tab into edit mode and put a grid fill face on this circle. Going to change the color of it so you can see the bolt a little clearer. Okay, we're going to perform a circular array on this bolt around this circle. Right click, select the plane, the circle. I'm going to Shift A, add an empty object. Okay, don't want it there, so I'm going to delete that. I'm going to right click, select the circle, Shift S, snap my cursor to that selection because I want the empty object to be in the center of my array. The purpose of the empty object is the array will be performed as we rotate the empty. And you'll see that. Shift A, add empty arrows. You can choose any of the empty objects. I'm going to make this a little larger. Okay. And there are two important rules for this, for a lot of modifiers, for a lot of things you do in Blender, but for a circular array in particular. There are two important rules, both of which I am going to ignore so that you can see the importance of following these rules. But don't worry, I am going to cover them very clearly so you will know what they are. Okay, I'm going to right click on the bolt and I'm going to add an array modifier. Add modifier, array. I'm going to start with 6 duplicates of this bolt. I don't want a relative or a constant offset, I want an object offset. The object I'm going to use for the offset is the empty object. I'm going to name the empty object, probably a good practice. Array empty. Right click again on the bolt and the object offset will be the array empty. Right away, as soon as I choose that object offset, you can see some goofy things happening here. You can see that each duplicated bolt is rotated differently. You can also see they're becoming increasingly larger. Okay, so that leads us to the two very important rules you need to follow. Okay, number one, you need to apply rotation and scale. What that means is, and what I mean by that is, the rotation on each axis needs to be 0 degrees. 0, 0, 0. The scale needs to be full scale, so on each axis, X, Y, and Z, you need 1, 1, 1, full scale. Okay, as you can see, we rotated on the x-axis 90 degrees, and so that is having an impact on our array modifier. A quick way to zero all this out, so to speak, is to apply the rotation and scale by pressing Ctrl A and apply rotation and scale. Now our rotation is 0 on all 3 axes, and our scale is full scale, 1, 1, 1. And you can see things are already starting to look better. Okay, that's rule number 1, apply rotation and scale. Number 2. Now, the purpose of the empty object is when we rotate the empty object, that is how we are going to perform our circular array. Preferably, we'd like to have the empty object in the center of our array. Okay, so rule number 2, be mindful of your origin. If I right click on the bolt, you can see that the origin is current. You can see the widget, which indicates that the origin is in the center of the bolt. I want to move the origin of the bolt to the center of the array. So I'm going to right click on the empty object and Shift S snap my cursor to that selection. I'm going to right click on the bolt and press Ctrl Shift Alt C to move the origin of the bolt to the 3D cursor. The origin of the bolt is now in the center of the array. It shares the same position as the origin of the empty object. The circular array is going to be performed around the entire circle, which is 360 degrees. So if I take my calculator and I plug in the 360 degrees around the entire circle and divide it by the number of instances, or the number of bolts, which in this case to begin is 6, I get 60. So I want to rotate my empty object 60 degrees. So I'm going to press R for rotate, type in 60 and hit enter. Now my bolts are equidistant. There's an equal distance in between each bolt. And that is how you perform a circular array. Remember to apply the rotation scale and also place the origin of your object in the center of your array. Okay, now for some tips. You can, if you need to, scale in object mode, but you can see what's happening. There's some goofy things happening. Of course, you can do whatever it is you need to do. You can also move it in object mode, but you're moving your origin. Okay, if you want to maintain your array, do all of your scaling and moving in edit mode. So if you press A to select all the vertices and move these vertices toward the origin, you can see your array getting smaller. So any adjustments you need to do to your array, do them in edit mode. Now if you need to change the number of instances in your array, don't forget to change the rotation of your empty object. For instance, I'm going to change my count from 6 to 8. 360 degrees divided by 8 is 45. So I need to move this back 15 degrees. Press R for rotate, type in -15, and there I have 8 bolts. And that is how you perform a circular array in Blender. Thank you.